pretty down to earth when you want to be. I think that he really does have the potential. If the Indians have done their due diligence on his health, I think he's got the potential to be like Scotty Kazmir was for the Tribe 2 seasons ago. I really do.
I don't have a problem with that with Antonelli, but he's already gave him $4 million plus another $6 million in incentives. So that's $10 million we basically threw away on a guy that we don't know if he can even pitch.
No, because if he does not reach those incentives, you paid him $4 million, as you just said, and the rest of those incentives are all targeted. Matter of fact, I just saw it. I believe it's 19 starts, and there's a couple of other barometers that will start to kick off those incentives that are added in that contract. So at that point, you're getting what you paid for. If he was, let's say, he played the whole season and he earned all of his contract, all of those incentives, it'd be close to $10 million. But if he pitches, even if he had a 500 season and had the type of stats that he's traditionally had, that's about the going market rate. Justin Masterson just got, $9.5 million or whatever it was there from the Red Sox. So that's about the going rate for that level of pitcher in the middle of your rotation like that, $9-10 million.
Okay, I can go along with that. I mean, it's not $100 million like they were talking last year with Masterson.
But it's incentive based. If he doesn't pan out, then yeah, I mean, it's easy for me to say you threw away $4 million. But I mean, 60% of that contract is based off of playing your games and making the appearances and being able to bounce back. Plus, hey, we all talk about Mickey Callaway and what he has done, not what his myth is. He has done with these pitchers that he gets. So I really do think the potential is there to have a Scotty Kazmir type season, because this isn't a guy who's just hurt. He's a guy who had been good at times when he's been average at times too, but he's had a few good seasons. If you can harness that, we're not looking for a 5-year run out of Gavin Floyd. Can Mickey Callaway,
obviously not.
You know what I mean? Can Mickey Callaway get one good season out of him? And I'll tell you what, I think that's a safe bet that the Indians made. I mean, because we know the type of ball that they're going to play as far as in the free agent market. You know what I mean? What it seemed to me was that we couldn't sign Masterson, so we signed a 31-year-old with a 500 record, just kind of even it out, Well, I don't know if it was that we couldn't sign Masterson. I'm sure we could.
We didn't. But here's my point. I mean, my point is that we didn't go after anything, not disabled or, I mean.
I agree. That's their strategy.
I just want, a starting pitcher that is healthy, and hasn't been, under the knife, so to speak.
Corey Kluber's waiting for you at spring training, man. I don't know. I hear you. Trust me, Bruce. I hear you, man. But this is the Indians' formula for better or worse. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, we signed Brandon Moss, and like I said, that's just the equivalent of Nick Swisher. Yeah,
we didn't get any better.
I think Moss is just what you were supposed to get when you signed Swisher. They're like, well,
exactly.
We gotta get that somewhere. Somebody owes us a 250 average and 25 home runs. Somebody.
Their numbers are so similar, and Gavin's numbers are real close to Masterson. So,
absolutely.
we didn't better ourselves from last year at all.
No, well, I mean, I hear you there. I don't want to say that the Indians didn't completely better themselves. I think that they, whatever. But it's not needle-moving stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah,
no, it's not the blockbuster that, I wanted. Right. I mean,
and you know what? There's still time. They have a lot of depth at pitching, as we've talked about. They've got a lot of depth at different places here in the farm system with prospects other teams may be interested in. I don't know. I don't think necessarily that the Indians are done. That doesn't mean either that Max Scherzer's coming down the pipe tomorrow, but they may have another decent trade in them here before this is all said and done. But I mean, for the type of pitchers that they were looking at, I really liked the idea of grabbing Neese from the Mets. I thought that was somebody who had a bigger upside because he's 4 years younger than Floyd is here. But anyways, this is the water, this is the pool that the Indians swim in. So I can't sit here and spend every day complaining about it, because then people go, "Oh, yeah, that's not fair to the to the Dolans." I'm not playing that game. It is what it is.
No,
and I do think that Gavin Floyd can at least be a Scotty Kazmir type, have one of those good, strong seasons, and then of course, then the Tribe will have to decide: do we want to keep him or do we want to let him go? And then we'll get into that next year. But let's see what they can do. I think it's got the potential to be okay.
We've almost witnessed, miracles that Terry can work, So, I say, if anybody can get the most out of him, Tito can.
I think the biggest statistic that he brought that appealed to the Indians the most is two of them. It's the fact that he averages 7 strikeouts a game, and they love strikeout pitchers. Mickey Callaway loves to work with those guys. And his strikeout walk ratio is not bad, 7-3. But speaking of 7-3, lifetime, that's his record against the Tigers. Never hurts to have a guy who's used to playing in the division and who is used to playing against those teams as well. That can't hurt you. The familiarity, even though he's 2 years removed from playing in the division, but still, he's got a little bit of a track record there. But yeah, I think they like the strikeout to walk ratio, and I just think that they like the skill set and the match with what Mickey Callaway can do. That's the best I can do. Like I said, I'm not selling the Cy Young statue for Gavin Floyd, but it's a depth signing for the Indians. But I do think that they have bigger belief in this than fans do, because they didn't sell it as the traditional, he's going to come to spring training and we're going to give him an opportunity. That was how they sold.
Right,
Scotty
it wasn't
Kazmir.
A minor league contract. This is, I'm paying him $4 million and he's going to start.
Yeah, Antonetti point blank said he is one of our 4 starters. Everybody else is competing for 5. Now, I do like what that does for the 5th starter spot, because you've got a lot of competition there. I mean, you've got a lot of guys gonna scrap it out for that. But we'll see, man. We'll see.
I still want to go with House in the 5th starting position.
19 starts, 160 innings. I couldn't find it. Now I got it. Those are where the incentives start, and then they escalate up from there for Floyd. So he's making $4 million next year until he hits his 20th start and until he passes 160 innings. So at that point, then it starts going up with every start and every batch of innings past there. So I think the Indians didn't go crazy. I mean, on a contract.
No, they didn't break the bank on him, but isn't this kind of like the Myers deal?
I think this is better. I think this is better because it's half as much money. Didn't he make like $8 million that year or whatever? 6, 8.
Well, yeah, but we only paid him 5, and then we cut him. So,
Well, yeah, he pitched for like a month. He showed up for 3 games, and we said sorry, but but I don't know.
Yeah,
it is what it is, man.
I was thinking that when I read his stats. We got him to pitch a lot of innings, and and that didn't work out well either. So.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Gavin Floyd, let's see if he can get you 160 to 200 innings out of this rotation. Anything else, my man, Bruce?
Yeah, can I throw Manziel in here for a minute?
Of course, man. I won't even let nobody run him over with a bus. Go ahead.
All right.
Are you going to tell me that the whole world is sabotaging Johnny Manziel?
I honestly believe that. I believe it started in the locker room. I believe it started with Joe Thomas and the Plain Dealer, and I believe it escalated from there.
I heard, actually, I don't know if you guys have heard this, and John McMullen is going to come on with us next, and I'm going to get his thoughts, but I heard Mary Kay, your girl Mary Kay.
I love her.
She was talking about this morning, I guess, about how there's word that some players were seen not shaking Manziel's hand during the pregame introductions and stuff like that. And to me, a lot of that stuff doesn't fly. I mean, listen, I definitely believe that there's a whole lot of players in this locker room that don't think he should be the quarterback because of what they've seen for themselves behind the scenes. I'm not saying that part's not true, but we're at the end of a season here. I mean, I could see giving the cat the cold shoulder in the introductions in week 1, but at this point, man, we're just trying to get through the season. I don't know necessarily there, but you know what? I've got to say this. if it is there, it's not like everybody in the world didn't tell you it was coming, didn't tell you that was a problem that you're going to have to deal with. And you can blame. Now, I do believe that a lot of what Bernie Kosar said about the dysfunction in the Browns over the years has been true. But I can tell you that what we're talking about here, the way the other locker room feels about this kid and his talent compared to his hype, that problem is not a Cleveland problem. That will happen anywhere that this kid goes because the talent does not match the hype and the package, and nobody in the locker room is sitting here for all of that noise. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying it's okay not to play.
Now,
I'm not saying
here's what got me, though. He said, I believe it was Joe Thomas, said that Cincinnati came in with more motivation than we did.
He sure did. Yes, that's what he said.
Okay. Now, with that being said, you're battling for a playoff spot. You got 70,000 fanatic fans screaming their heads off. And you got the electricity of Johnny Manziel starting that game. And you weren't motivated?
Here's the thing, though. I don't think that electricity was fans. That was what the coaches were selling. That was what the media was selling. Not a person in that locker room felt any electricity because they knew what Mike Pettin knew, which is what the world found out, which is, let me qualify this. Johnny Manziel eventually maybe could be a good NFL quarterback. Right now, he needs a couple of years of development. See, to me, hey, I'm glad you brought this up because to me, I was joking. I can't believe you said yes about the sabotage because I actually saw that being a big narrative that people are sabotaging him. But to me, what the Browns have to decide in the next 2 weeks is Johnny Manziel your franchise quarterback? Is he the future? No. We've gone beyond that.
Not if they're going to step aside and let him get killed.
Well, it's not just that. What the Browns have to decide is how long will this development process take, and are we willing to wait that long for whatever the end result is? Because I'm telling you now, you're talking about a 2 or 3 year process to get this guy to where hopefully he can compete. And even then, now you can start talking about the physical things and the other things, and he's not fast enough and all of these other things. I saw an article today that said, actually it was one of those, it was from the New York Post, where they said how the Browns sabotaged Johnny Manziel. And they used the one phrase just makes me laugh, about Shanahan with RG3, and he has such a skill set similar to Manziel's. No, he doesn't. No, RG3 is 3 times the athlete that Johnny Manziel is, and that's the mistake. People keep thinking because a guy can run and another guy can run that they're exactly the same. No, one guy runs much faster than the other guys. One guy runs away from faster guys than the other guy does, man. But, it's like, anyways, all of that is whatever. That article is ridiculous, by the way, how the Browns
now, that leads me to my next point. How long does Pettin last?
Hold on. No, you're a Manziel guy, too. I just can't believe you've watched a lot of football in your life, Bruce, and I know that you don't like the Browns organization, and you do like Johnny Manziel, but and I know privately if we were talking what you would say. I don't know what you're going to say on the air, but you watched him play. Forget the rest of the team around him. Tell me that you did not have a coming to awakening moment when you saw that kid play pro football.
I saw a bunch of high school kids playing on a professional field is what I saw.
I saw a bunch of professionals who had no interest in playing high school football. That's what I saw, and they turned their back. I'm just saying, that's not fair. I told you guys on Monday that Browns fans should ask for a refund for what happened in that stadium.
Right, I totally agree.
I absolutely agree with that. Grown men, grown professionals should not do that. But this is not just, we told you we don't like Johnny, so we're going to teach you a lesson. That is not
exactly. They stood there blocking no one.
Hey.
I mean, the guy reached over the center, grabbed Johnny by one hand, and threw him to the ground.
That play is not physically possible in the NFL. That play alone should concern people about Johnny Manziel. That man was being blocked by one man and pulled down by one hand by the other. I mean, anyways, look, man, it is the Browns' job now to decide. You can say whatever you want. I'm telling you guys, I will give you that nobody on this team was interested in playing the other day. The reason why is what the people that are holding out hope for Manziel is what all of you are ignoring is the reason why. It's the reason why the coaches didn't want to play him. It's the reason why Ray Farmer never pushed the issue. It's the reason why the Browns are where they are, because of this whole thing. Once again, I go back to it all. I could have avoided the whole thing by just doing the draft differently. But, hey, man.